Well, I knew it. I knew one of these 7:30 p.m. Pacific game was going to go to a PK shootout. I mean, today it feels like PK shootout was the story of this lead Cup, as pretty much coming into those two 7:30 p.m. Pacific games, 4 out of those 5 games went to a PK shootout, and it's just fitting that, of course, one of these has to do so, just so that it delays my review, and now basically I will get a little less amount of sleep before I go to work at 6:30 a.m. in the morning. And of course, for those of you wonder why can't I just do the review tomorrow instead? Well, I did promise you guys earlier today that I was going to do the review right after these games is over, and especially in terms of busy action. I want to just talk about right away instead of waiting for tomorrow. And boy, we definitely had some drama in terms of some of these games, especially some of these that went to a PK shootout. And I will say that I was definitely heavily invested in the last PK shootout of the night, because not only the fact that there's a chance where the Galaxy could finish the top of the group, but there's a chance that one of my team can still make it into the next round after just moments ago one of my other team got knocked out of this tournament. But let's begin by talking about the first game. And again, I'm gonna be only reviewing fully detail in terms of half of these games that is part of the nightcap. I already did the fully detailed review of the Atlanta versus Santos Laguna's game, which is already on my channel. But we start off with the game between the Union and Cruz Azul, and in the end, I think both of these teams are probably very happy coming out of this result. For the Union, they were able to get themselves the point to finish top of the group and avoid of potentially playing a tough team in the next round. And Cruz Azul, well, I mean, they almost Cruz Azul this game, but they were able to win it in the PK shootout. Though early on in the first half, Valley would puts it high from long range before Gutierrez puts it high from close range. Cruz Azul, I thought, was on the front foot. We're looking for the opening goal. Rivero had a free kick that was put over the bar, and just to tell you guys why I say Cruz Azul, almost Cruz Azul, this one, they dominated this game against the Union. The fact that this went to a PK shootout was just kind of a miracle for the Union. But again, it's just that Cruz Azul decided to Cruz Azul themselves and make it hard for themselves to move on into the next round. Though in the 20th minute, the post would deny Gutierrez from close range before Yakimakis would miss wide after a bad giveaway from the Union in this one. So again, the thing that I was very looking forward to coming into this game is to see how Yakimakis play against an MLS opponent. Ever since he has transferred to Cruz Azul after that big transfer that Atlanta United, of course, throw him off. It was going to be interesting to see how he played, and I thought he played really well in this game. Yes, he didn't get on the score sheet in this game, but the movement that he has, I mean, it just kind of makes you wonder. I know Atlanta got a big amount of transfer fee out of that, but if you're an Atlanta fan watching this game, I mean, yeah, you pretty much feel like you're regretting the fact that the front office decided to take that money. And that you could have just kept a guy that probably could be useful for Atlanta after they got eliminated earlier today by in their game against Santos Laguna. But there was no doubt that I thought the Union were on the ropes up to this point. Cruz Azul, they were knocking on the door for the opener. We then had some coming together between both of these teams, because that's how it is. Anytime when there's an MLS versus Liga MX game, there's always going to be a coming together period. It happened in this game as well, and it definitely happened in this one. Though I will say that in terms of the coming together, this one, at least when I watch it fully, this was probably the most heated one. I mean, both of these teams, they do not like each other whatsoever, and that's not a big surprise because, again, the Union is a team that they do have those enforcer out there, and that they're not afraid in terms of getting themselves in terms of a little bit of a scrap. So yeah, it was definitely heated throughout this one. I also was surprised the fact that there was no red card in this game, despite the fact that there was just so many yellow cards that was handed out in this one. Baribo then hits it wide from close, and then there was a scramble in the Union box that somehow Cruz Azul does not score. That's just a simplified explanation to this, because what happened here was it was a bad giveaway from the Union, and then one of the Cruz Azul player basically squared the ball to his teammate. His teammate basically slipped, and then there was just a lot of scramble, and then it looked like the ball was going to trickle in before Blake just was able to save that one off the line. Get all that? No? Well, then play the Benny Hill theme music, because honestly, that sequence, you could just play the Benny Hill theme music and it will fit perfectly in terms of how crazy it was, and how somehow in some way the Union were not 1-0 down up to that point. And then on the other end, Uru would miss a sitter in the 32nd minute, but the flag went up, and I'm pretty sure Miguel Uru was probably the most relieved man to see that flag went up, because yeah, that was not a great moment there for him missing a sitter like that. Blake then denied Rivero from long range. The shots were 7-1 for Cruz Azul up to this point, and you just kind of had a feeling with all those pressure that Cruz Azul has been put, eventually they're going to get one in, and it did happen in the 42nd minute as Rotundi would score from Gutierrez to give Cruz Azul a 1-0 lead. Faravelli then trying to make it 2-0, but he puts it wide off of a deflection, and despite the fact that Union just got absolutely steamrolled in the first half, they're only down 1-0 heading into the second half, and that would be key as we get later into this game. In the second half, Blake would deny Yakimakis from close range. Cruz Azul kind of picked up where they left off as they were looking for another. We then had some more tempers flare happen after Baribo was shoved to the ground by one of the Cruz Azul player. By the way, no yellow card was shown in that play. I mean, I know this is the Leagues Cup that is not organized by CONCACAF, but that is the most CONCACAF thing to happen to an MLS team, to have one of the Liga MX players to shove you and not get a yellow card because so bad. And I also thought someone was going to get a red in this one, because it's just been a very physical game. It's been a very hotly tempered game. As I said, both of these teams do not like each other whatsoever. Yakimakis then hits one right to Blake. There was a shout for a penalty for the Union not given. Gutierrez then curls it wide as Cruz Azul was pushing to get that killer second goal, because how many times we have said, when you don't get that second goal, you're definitely left yourself vulnerable in terms of potential should only give up a late goal because of a lucky bounce or an unfortunate situation. Well, that unfortunate situation did happen, because after there was a shout for a penalty for the Union not given in the 86th minute, in the 87th minute, the Union ties the game up. And it's Daniel Gazdak that ties the game up at one apiece, and it's an absolute gift. I mean, for those of you wondering why I always mention Cruz Azul doing a Cruz Azul, well, you should just ask Cruz Azul fan, and certainly as a lot of the Liga MX fan, because they are one of the team that has always known to choke in the biggest moment, or do some of the dumbest way to lose games. So in some way, I'm pretty sure Chicago Fire fan can agree to that. But yeah, here just an absolute gift here. Just a bad turnover from Cruz Azul to begin with, and then this was a low cross that was deflected, and Mir looked like he had this one, and then he just spilled it into a dangerous area, and there's Gastek, the one that punished the Cruz Azul netminder for that mistake. And just like that, the Union, who were pretty much dominated in this game, somehow have got their equalizer in this one. And then a couple of minutes later, Martinez and Antuna basically butt heads each other as the ball went out of play. I mean, that's not a big surprise, because again, that's just kind of a theme of how this game was. It was very hotly tempered. But yeah, we go to the PK shootout, and mind you, Cruz Azul need to win this game. So them giving up that late goal now means that they're gonna have to do it the hard way to try to win in the PK shootout. Well, the good news for Cruz Azul is that they did win the PK shootout. Sepova, they would win the PK shootout in round 5, and the only penalty that was missed was from Daniel Gastag, which that is kind of a bit of a surprise, considering Gastag has been so lethal from the penalty. But yeah, Mayer definitely made up for his mistake that he has, and probably stopped the most clinical PK taker from this Union team in round 1, and that was kind of the difference. As in the end, Cruz Azul, they did it the hard way, but they're moving on into the next round. The good news though for the Union, with that point, that's enough for them to move on into the next round and finish at the top of the group. And also, as I'll mention in a bit, they avoid Orlando City in terms of have to play on the road. I think they're going to be playing Montreal at home, which is going to be a much easier opponent compared to if they have to go on the road to play against a red hot Orlando side. The shots in this one, yeah, heavily in favor of Cruz Azul. 19 shots created, just 4 that the Union has. 2 shots on goal for the 5 that Cruz Azul has. 8 shots off target for the 1 that the Union has. 1 shot that was blocked for the 3 that Cruz Azul has. And possession-wise, 57% possession compared to the 43% possession the Union has in this game. And like I said, I think both of these teams, they'll definitely be happy, because Cruz Azul, even though they did it the hard way, they're able to make it to the next round, and then the Union, of course, they'll be happy. Even though they lost this PK shootout, they'll be happy that they somehow miraculously got a point out of this game to get themselves at the top, finish at the top of the standing, and get an easier next round of 32 matchup in the next round. Now, moving on, in terms of the next match, is St. Louis and Juarez. And by the way, all the three games I'm reviewing detailedly, all of them went to a PK shootout. But you knew that that was the case because I did mention that it feels like every single game in today's Leagues Cup action has to go to a PK shootout. And I gotta say, this was an entertaining game between St. Louis and FC Juarez. And I mentioned it before. I think FC Juarez, they're a team that, after what we saw with them pulling a big upset against FC Dallas on the road, and now getting another win in this one in a PK shootout against St. Louis, and actually with a better team in this game against St. Louis. People should kind of watch out for this team because I'm pretty sure they're going to do something, and they know that after what happened last year, where yes, they did move on to the next round, but they might as well not be because they got absolutely thumped by LAFC in the next round. They definitely would not only want to do better, but they could be a sleeper pick in terms of a Liga MX team that can sneakily go deep in this competition. Now, early on, the first shot of the game did see Horado nine third from close range before Garcia hits it right to Lund in the 12th minute. It was been a lively start in this game as both teams were looking for the opener. Lund would then deny Oreo from close range before Garcia had a shot that was deflected and goes wide. The shots were two apiece for both of these teams 16 minutes in, and there was a lot of shots. It was a very open game in this one. Mascara then hits it wide from close before Garcia puts it wide from long range. Lund then denied Garcia, but Zaldova had a second effort for Juarez, but he missed wide there. And I thought they were started to turn up the heat in this one with these chances and were looking to press for the opening goal. Though, as I said, that Jurado would deny Watts, but it recycled back to Toysher, who tried to hit it into the empty net, but it was clear off the line by a Juarez player. And I'll tell you what, Toysher, besides that one goal that he scored for St. Louis, he's been kind of a little bit snake bitten, at least early on in his time with the St. Louis City side. Calvo would then hit wide from close range. By the way, if you wonder where Francisco Calvo is now playing, well, he's now playing for FC Juarez, and it would be funny if he actually did score a goal in this game because Francisco Calvo, he's a guy that I know. No, he might be a player that wasn't very good during his time with the Quakes, and especially during his time with Minnesota United. But he is definitely a guy that I always keep track to see what he's doing nowadays. He's kind of like almost a meme player in terms of the team that I root for. But that being said, in the 40th minute, Villapando would put it high from close as the shots were now 11-7, and we only played 40 minutes into this game. There was a lot of shots in this one. Garcia would then had a shot that was clear off the line from close range. So yeah, now both teams had a shot that was clear off the line. And I even wrote, how is this still 0-0? I mean, the fact that there's been many chances for both of these teams, am shocked. The fact that this was at 0-0 up to this point. Well, Garcia tried to change that, but instead he blasts this one into Illinois and past the Missouri River. And we do head to halftime, somehow scoreless between both of these teams. It doesn't stay scoreless for long, though, because after Leuven puts it over the bar from the free kick in the 58th minute, St. Louis would get the opening goal. And it's Simon Betcher, his first career goal for St. Louis. He scored from Leuven to give St. Louis a 1-0 lead. A great delivery there from Leuven. And then Betcher kind of just ghosted the entire Juarez back line there and just hits that one first time in the front post. I mean, it not only the fact that was a great play there from Betcher, but the fact that he can finish that from the near post and especially hit it off the volley, that is not an easy trait to do. But yeah, that gives St. Louis a 1-0 lead. Lund then denied Orion from close range, but then in the 61st minute, Juarez quickly got the goal back as Valipando would score here to tie the game up at one apiece. London denied Torres on the doorstep of goal because Jairo Torres still not allowed to score a goal against an MLS team. I mean, I've already talked about how he is probably going to go down as one of the worst VP ever signed in MLS history of his 2-year tenure with the Fire, scoring no goals and also getting no assists. I mean, It's also going to be really surprising if he would actually score in this game too, because again, he's just not allowed to score a goal against an MLS opponent, and he's still not allowed to score a goal against an MLS opponent after this game. But the momentum was definitely with Juarez. They were looking to try to take the lead. London denied Campillo from close range. I think this was the best game that Ben Lund has had so far. I mean, I know he hasn't been that good, which is not a big surprise because he's a backup goalkeeper. But I thought he actually played really well in in this one, and at least keep St. Louis in this one as much as possible, because now the shots were 18-9 for Juarez. Juarez was really starting to take over this game. London denied Zaldivar from long range before Herno would pulls it wide from long range, and then Valerius would throws it high from close range in the 86th minute. Both teams doesn't seem like they want to go to PK because they were still pushing to try to get the late winner. The game was just still wide open between both of these teams. But eventually, as it is the case for most of these games, it goes to a PK shootout. And in the PK shootout, we see Ortega wins the PK shootout for Juarez in round four after Koisher and Hurdle missed for St. Louis in the PK shootout. So yeah, that's a big whiff for St. Louis when they see two of their new signing and their two German player not being clutch in the PK shootout. The good news for St. Louis is that they still move on into the next round. They finish, of course, in second position, and obviously coming into this game, it really doesn't matter in terms of the outcome of this game, because both teams was gonna move on. There was no elimination that was being played in this one, but yeah, Juarez, they get the win here, and they kind of deserve it too. I mean, look at the shots in this one: 23 shots for the 11 that St. Louis had, 8 shots on goal for the 4 that St. Louis had, 8 shots off target for the 4 that St. Louis had, 7 shots that was blocked for the 4 that St. Louis had, and possession-wise, 60% possession compared to 40% possession that St. Louis has in this game. Now, moving on into the next game, and I definitely was keeping an eye on this game, and also keeping an eye on the Seattle versus Necaxa game, because both of my team, there's definitely some fate that it is happening in this one. In some way, I was really rooting for the MLS team, because if the Galaxy is able to get the win in this one, then the Quakes are going to be moving on into the next round, and the same goes if Seattle beat Necaxa. Minnesota would move on into the next round. And unfortunately, both of my team weren't able to both go through the round of 32. But the good news is one of them did able to do so. And I gotta say, as the old saying goes, it cannot be easy to be a San Jose Earthquake fan. And honestly, something almost disastrous happened in this one that I'm pretty sure just kind of adds the pain of being a Quakes fan this season, and I'll get to that in just a bit. But in the first half, so one of the things that was a big thing coming into this game is Chicharito coming back to Dignity Health Sports Park to place against his former team, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. He was a last minute scratch for Chivas in this game. Marine basically replace him in that spot. But in the second minute, Brugman would puts it wide from close range. But then in the 8th minute, Chivas would take the lead. It's Mozo, the one that gets the opening goal for the, well, I want to say the visitor, but they're actually the home team, Chivas, in this game, and it showed it too. I mean, pretty much 80% of the crowd inside Daily Health Sports Park are Chivas fan. But yeah, that was just optional defending from the Galaxy, and that will also be a theme in this game, because yeah, Chivas really exploit how bad the Galaxy defense is this year. But one thing that the Galaxy at least have in their hand is that they're very lethal in front of goal, because literally 2 minutes later, they would tie the game up. It's Josep Painto. He scored from Cuevas to give the tying goal for the Galaxy. They did check to see whether or not if this was indeed onside. Cuevas was very close of being in an offside position, but looks like he just stayed onside here. And yeah, just like that, the game was all tied up at one apiece, and I'm just thinking, oh boy, buckle up, boys and girls, because this game could get crazy. I mean, it's not a Galaxy game if there's going to be some back and forth action, and it would get crazy, at least for the rest of the game. Though not really in the Galaxy favor, at least for most of these games. Pooch would then miss wide from close range before Makovic would deny Alvarado from close, and then he denied Alvarado again from close just a couple of seconds later, as Chivas was really pushing hard to try to get the lead back. The Galaxy defense clearly has not showed up to this point, and they would also not show up pretty much for majority of this game as well. Then we see Marine had a shot that was deflected and goes wide. The shots were already 8-3 for Chivas up to this point. Ariado then had a shot that goes wide from close range before Olivos would miss wide from long range in the 42nd minute. We then had your typical coming together between both of these teams because again, that's just how it is whenever there's an MLS versus Liga MX game. But we do head to halftime with the score all tied up at one apiece. In the second half, pretty much the same thing as we saw for majority of the first half. Mozo would then puts one to Long Beach in the 48th minute before Marine would hits one right to Makovic as Chivas again picked up where they left off, continued to dominate the possession, continued to have the chances, and also the Galaxy picked up where they left off too, which is playing some matador defense and giving the ball away every single time when they have a chance to go on the other end. Pooch would then hits one right to hit right to I don't know why I wrote McCarvey here. It's actually Angel, the goalkeeper that was for Chivas. Again, up to this point, there was a lot of games that I was keeping an eye on, so I've been writing quickly on the board as we speak. But in the 57th minute, Gutierrez would hit it wide from close range before Beltran, which struck the post here in the 62nd minute, and there was a second chance for Sepulveda, but he put it wide from close in the 62nd, and this is when I just think Chivas is just getting snake bitten in this game, just like they did against the Quakes, where for a long time, Chivas they were dominating against the Quakes, at least in the last 30 minutes when the Quakes were just kind of bunkering in, but they just could not put the ball into the back net because they're not showing their clinical finishing. And up to this point, the shots were 70-4 for Chivas. But again, as the old saying goes, doesn't matter how many shots you have. If you're not clinical in terms of your finishing, you're gonna get punished, and they got punished. Chivas in the 69th minutes, as in that moment, Gabriel Peck completely against the run of play would score from Delgado to give the Galaxy a 2-1 lead. I mean, that was really one of the rare attacks that the Galaxy has had, and one of the rare time where they actually were able to get behind this Chivas back line. Though on the other end, Makovic would rob Castillo from point blank effort. Makovic was definitely channeling his inner Dane Sinclair in this game because he's just been coming up big with making some big save and refuse to be beaten again. Fagundes then missed high from close in the 76th minute before Puig would put it wide as the Galaxy was looking to finish this game up. But remember how I said that Chivas was missing chances and how that seems to come back to haunt them? Well, it feels like the role kind of reversed late in the game where the Galaxy was all of a sudden started missing chances to put the game away. And it comes back to bite them in big time because in the second minute of stoppage time, guess who? It's K-Cal. He scores the tying goal to tie the game up at two apiece. And honestly, this is when I thought, oh boy, it's been a long season of being a San Jose Earthquakes fan. This is the last thing I want to seeing K-Cal scoring a goal for Chivas to send this to a PK shootout. And if Chivas does win this PK shootout, oh man, I mean, again, there's been already a lot of pain that every Quakes fan like myself has had to deal with this season, but this would just be almost right up there in terms of some of the most painful moment that the Quakes, being a Quakes fan, has been this season. But the good news is Chivas didn't win the PK shootout. In fact, heading into the PK shootout, they mentioned Chivas has lost their last 5 PK shows, so they kind of decided to channel what the New York Red Bulls have been doing. I mean, I'm not sure if there is a phrase that's so natural in terms of Liga MX. I mean, I guess you can maybe say hey, that's so Chivas in a Mexican term because as it said, they have lost the last 5 PK shootout coming into this PK shootout, and after this, it would be 6 PK shootout in a row that Chivas will lose. Though, one thing that is notable is before I talk about how Chivas lose the PK shootout, Mozo actually struck the post in round two, and it actually hits the back of Makovic and goes in there. And honestly, when I saw that, I'm like, oh boy, it looks like the luck is coming back to Chivas in this game because for a long time it looked like Chivas was getting blue ball in this one, but now it seems like in the PK shootout it's getting it back to Chivas' favor. And again, coming into this game, I'm pretty sure Galaxy fans don't really care how this resort would go because I think they would have finished top of the group matter what. But as a Quakes fan, I was really nervous because again, for the Quakes, it's been a rough season. This is really the only tournament that I really they aren't paid too much attention. Or this is really the only tournament that not only I paid too much so much attention of how the Quakes do, but really just kind of a saving grace to at least see how this tournament to save grace of what is pretty much a lost season for them in league play. And again, I feel like there's going to be more painful full thing that will happen with the Quakes getting knocked out because Chivas scored a late goal, and of course it has to be one of the player that they sold. Oh, for rightful reason. I think it's still to this day. I think it's the right decision that they decided to sell K Cal because he was not going to continue to develop up to a player that they can sell for more amount of money. But the good news is, at least for once, the Leeds Cup gods and the MLS gods show some mercy toward the Quakes because Makovic would denied Sepulveda in round six to win it for the the Galaxy, and yeah, that was the difference. And in the end, the Galaxy win 5-4 in the PK show. Oh wait, did I say Mikovic? It's Mikovic. That's how you pronounce. I do not know why I'm pronouncing it Mikovic. I must be very tired because of the way that it's getting past 10:30 right now. Getting into the 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 the, the after dark hours of doing the review of this. But anyway, the shots in this one: 20 shots for the 9 that the Galaxy had, 3 shots on goal for the 7 that Chivas had, 5 shots off target for the 4 that Chivas had, 2 shots that was blocked for the 6 that the Galaxy had, and possession wise, 51% possession compared to the 49% possession that Chivas had. And also, that's now 2 straight uh, tournament in a row in the Leeds Cup that Chivas has been knocked out of their group. So yeah, that's definitely not a great moment for all those Chivas fans, and consider them being one of the big giants of Liga MX historically. But most importantly, the Quakes are moving on into the next round. I believe they play against Seattle on the road, and even though I know they're probably gonna get absolutely destroyed by Seattle in the round 32. The fact that they made it out of this group with the likes of the Galaxy and Chivas in it, I mean, if you would have told me that was going to be the case, I wouldn't have believed you. And also, if you would have told me the difference would be of them winning the PK shootout against Chivas, that is the reason why they move on to the next round, I wouldn't believe you as well. But here we are. Yeah, the Quakes, they're moving on, and as I said before, there hasn't been a lot of good things to cheer for the Quakes this season. I'm just taking this Leeds Cup and taking these good moments as a way to salvage any positivity that is left for the Quakes season. And it's also kind of ironic the fact that it came after that they got that because their biggest rival was able to help them out, and that same rival that they of course lost four times this season. Now, looking at the other resort that happened in terms of this busy Sunday night Leeds Cup action. So, in the other resort, we had a PK shootout between Orlando City versus Atletico San Luis, and I promise this is actually the last game I'm gonna actually talk about that actually went to a PK shootout. But it's Orlando that wins the PK shootout. They win 5-4 in this PK shootout. And they actually earned this win too in some ways because they actually had a man send off in the 29th minute with Kyle Smith getting sent off. Though Enrique did score here from Torres because of course Romero Enrique score. I swear Oscar is going to have a difficult decision to make of does he stick with the red hot hand of Enrique or does he decide to go back to Maguire? I think he has to go with Enrique. I mean, Enrique has just been red hot right now. He just cannot stop scoring goals and taking every opportunity that he can now that Maguire is away from national team duty. But in the second half, Atletico San Luis did get the equalizer as Dorado would score from Gauntness to tie the game up at one apiece. But in the shootout, in a PK shootout that Atletico San Luis had to win to move on into the next round, they don't. As Dagger Dan for Holson would win it in round number 5 for Orlando City, and Orlando City, of course, I believe they topped the group in that one, and now they're going to be facing oh god, who they're facing? I think they're facing Cruz Azul in the next round. So yeah, that's not going to be an easy task for Orlando City to do so. But if there's one thing I will say about Orlando is that they have definitely played much better, and I feel like something tells me Orlando could be like Nashville last season, where this could be a team that haven't really had a good season, at least for most part of the league, but got hot at the right moment, and now it feels like they could be a team that could actually do well and go deep in tournament, and they have had a history of going deep in tournament before. I mean, we saw in the MLS back tournament they went all the way to the final, and there could be a case we could see Orlando could be like Nashville last season, a team that nobody expected them to get to the final, and here we are. Orlando City is in the final. And also, I'm sorry, Lions fan, if I just jinx you because of that, but there just something tells me that Orlando is giving me a very similar vibe to what Nashville was last year when they made it to the final to face Inter Miami. And then in the other game, we got Toronto pull off one of the bigger upset in this Leagues Cup with a 2-1 win against Pachuca. They got a goal late in the first half from Etienne Jr. from Insigne, but Idrisi did tie the game up one apiece for Pachuca. But then in the 78th minute, Kobe Franklin would score for Marshall Ruddy to give Toronto the 2-1 win. So yeah, again, a big upset for TFC. They also win that group as well, which is a good thing for them until you realize that now they have to play against Inter Miami in the round of 32. So in some way for TFC, I'm pretty sure they would feel like that is probably the biggest victory that they have had, especially knocking uh, uh, down the team that won the CONCACAF Champions Cup the season, that is Pachuca. But on the other hand, it does come with a big price that now they're going to be facing against the defending Leagues Cup champion, that is Inter Miami, and knowing that they're not going to be a team that's going to be very happy. Inter Miami coming into Toronto to face against TFC after they suffer that hard fought game that unfortunately ends in a losing effort against Tigres. And then in the last game I want to talk about, this is the game that I also keep an eye on a lot. That is the Seattle Sounders and the Coxa. Coming into this game, Seattle. They would do Minnesota a huge favor, and that of course is to win this game, so Minnesota would make it into the next round. That did not happen because honestly, for those of you wondering what is my most hated team in MLS, and I probably might do another video about it. There's a reason why I put Seattle right up the top of the list. I mean, Seattle has just given me so much pain as a Minnesota and also as a Quakes fan as well. Because for the Quakes, there was a long time where we just simply cannot beat Seattle for a while. Nowadays, it feels like the Quakes are able to match up with Seattle relatively well. Can't say the same thing about Minnesota as well. I mean, for sure, many Loons fans can agree that right now the most hated team right now isn't actually Sporting KC, but really the Seattle Sounders, because here, yeah, I mean they lost this one, and it looked so promising too in this game after Ober Vargas got the 8th minute goal, and then Pedro de la Vega thought that they give Seattle a 2-0 lead, and then that goal of course was chopped off because of offside, and really that was kind of the turning point because from that moment the momentum completely changed. Necaxa turned the game on its heads. Palavencio would score from Paradela to make it 1-1 in this game, and then right on the stroke of halftime, Cambindo would score from Paradela to give Necaxa a 2-1 lead, and then Rosero basically put the final nail in the Minnesota United coffin for this Leeds Cup with a 3-1 win. And yeah, it's very unfortunate to see Minnesota their Leeds Cup run comes to an end, and it's unfortunate the fact that Seattle. I wish that Seattle could actually just able to get a 1 game loan of Dane Sinclair in this one, because I'm sure if Dane Sinclair was in this game against Necaxa and he was a Sounders goalkeeper, I'm pretty sure he would have kept a shutout, because he did keep a shutout against Necaxa, especially with those 16 save. But all kidding aside, as much as it is disappointing to not see Minnesota moving on into the next round. In hindsight, I think it's a good thing because I think this Loons team needs some rest. Even if they do move on to the next round, I don't see them able to move even further. Especially, I think they play the Galaxy in the next round, and it's on the roll as well. No chance the Loons are going to win that one, especially of how decimated they are with injuries and so forth. And yeah, hopefully this ref will give them some help in terms of make going through that stretch run, where they'll definitely hope that they'll play well during that stretch run to make it to the playoffs. But not to mention also preparing to get some revenge in terms of their return to league play, because guess who's the first team that they're going to be playing when the league returns? Oh yeah, it's the Seattle Sounders, and that of course is if Seattle doesn't go all the way to the final. That is, but yeah, that's definitely a game that coming into that game, if Minnesota isn't more motivated to beat their arch nemesis, well, after in this game where their arch nemesis didn't help them out and got them eliminated from the Leeds Cup, yeah, they're definitely gonna be looking for some revenge and some uh some steam to blow off in that game when the league returns. There you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of the review of all of these games, at least for the Sunday night action. As I mentioned, I've already reviewed the game between Atlanta and Santos Laguna earlier today. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys like, smash the subscribe button. I don't know how many games we're gonna have tomorrow. I'm assuming it's probably not gonna be as busy as what we saw in terms of the Sunday action in the Leeds Cup group stage. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.